G'day guys, just wanted to make some time for a quick update video since it's been a while since the last video. As you can see, the bike is complete. It's currently running, riding, no dramas at the moment. It's only kind of getting a shakedown run right now, so the motor's being broken in, the rotors are being broken in, everything's kind of still fresh at the moment. But it's absolutely ripping. So since the last video, I didn't have the pipe on and I hadn't fired it up at that time. And I was thinking about filming the first fire up just to see how it goes, but essentially I was too anxious and worried that something would go wrong. So I fired it up when I was kind of ready. What I found was it sounded absolutely brilliant at the beginning, super tough. But as it warmed up and I was going through the heat cycles and kind of leaving it on for a little bit longer and a bit longer, as it warmed up, I was getting a massive tick from the rear cylinder. So I didn't want to keep firing it up and just running it with that tick. What I ended up doing was taking all the push rods out and just visually confirming oil flow, because that was my main worry, given that this was a motor that was sitting around for ages that had a bunch of sludge in the bottom end that I cleared out to the best of my ability, but there could be a block passage there somewhere. So I bought an oil pressure gauge and put one on the front and confirmed the actual oil pressure, not just that it had pressure, but the amount of pressure. Once I was happy with that, I pulled the lifter blocks out and pulled all the lifters out, visually confirmed oil was going to each bank. One thing I noticed when I pulled the lifters out was 3 of them had a puddle of oil on the top of the lifter, like where the oil comes out obviously, and one of them was dry as a bone. So that was my first suspect. After confirming oil was flowing through all of it and that oil was flowing through the other lifters and out the top of the lifter, I noticed that oil wasn't coming out one of the back lifter, I think it was here. So I pulled that. I used an oil gun thing to pump it up again, because the method that I used the first time was just where you leave it in the jar and suck the air out. So the bubbles come out, there's no more bubbles or whatever, and then you're ready to go. I guess that just confirms that no more bubbles was coming out and not that oil was actually in there. So after pumping it up, confirming that oil was coming out again, and turning the motor over, it then started spewing out oil out the top. So I think it was just a sticky lifter, to be honest. Sounded terrible once it warmed up, but that sound is completely gone away now. I'm happy that oil's getting everywhere and it seems to be going fine. So I'm just going through a break-in process now where I'm taking it a little bit easy, but putting a little bit of load on it here and there, not revving it out, not lugging it, but just getting it ready. First impressions are that the motor pulls a lot harder than even a worked 80-inch really. I guess it's to be expected with a hot 95, but I'm very, very happy with the motor. It's basically, even though I'm still running it in and I haven't taken it out to the limiter or anything, it's exactly what I thought it would be. It's just super strong, super linear, and it just pulls all the way through without feeling like it's going to come onto power or drop off of power. Just feels like the power and torque is always there. So super stoked on that setup as it currently stands. Just riding around, obviously the bike is a lot smaller than my Lowrider ST, so that's the other bike that I'm mainly riding at the moment. So it's nice to be back on what I would consider a medium-sized frame, with proper mid controls, narrower, lighter. It feels awesome. The bike is also super solid and super planted. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's absolutely way more planted than any other FXR I've got at the moment, including that blue one. And I'm not entirely sure why. So it might be that the Chopper House motor mount makes it feel that way. I was expecting a lot of vibrations through it based on how it actually mounts, but I wasn't getting that at all. And I kind of forgot that I had it on there until, I took it around the block and realized, oh yeah, I could actually compare it to other motor mounts I've had. So I'm really happy with that. It seems to be doing a real good job. The swing arm is also a bit more solid than other setups I've had as well. So it's the touring one with the bearings, and that feels really good too so far. The Moto gadget is all working really well. It's working better than my blue bike, so I'm able to do the on and off with the mobile being the key. I've taught it the speedo speed based on the speedo sensor off the trans. And yeah, I'm just kind of running it in at the moment. So one of the things I've noticed, so there's a couple of things that I didn't get right. So gearing, motor, look, I'm all super stoked on. It's exactly how I wanted. One thing I've stuffed up is the side stand height. So I've got a Dyna stand that's a +1 inch, and I've got the FXDX, what are they, 13.5s or 13 point something shocks. So one, the back end isn't as tall as I want. It looks sick, but it kind of looks stock, and that's probably due to the fact I'm running that touring swing arm with the rear mounted thing. I compensated by running the rear hole on the frame so that the shock angle is alright. It's just not as tall as I want it. So some taller shocks will be on the cards. And then the other thing is, that side stand with these shocks mean that when the bike is on a flat surface, it's only just past vertical, tipped over. So your side stand down, your front wheel turned, it's not going to fall over. But if you're on any kind of incline, it would. You'd have to park it on the opposite end. It's just too close to being upright. Like you can see here, that front's on a bit of carpet, and it's like it's nearly bang on upright. So that's something I'll need to fix in the future. I do have a normal size Dyna stand, thanks to Simon, and shout out to bloody Sammy for giving me all my Deutsch plugs in there too. That's about it, really. The bike's going sick, looks sick. Super happy with it. I just need to find some time to actually get it regoed and do the rest to kind of just make it legit. Hopefully, once it's regoed, plated, and all running, I'll be able to do probably some back-to-back videos with this and the Lowrider ST out in the corners, and just get a few different kinds of things happening. The Lowrider ST is outside at the moment, but it's got a bunch of parts either here or coming, including a HPI exhaust, a set of wheels that are over there somewhere, and a couple other little bits and pieces. But yeah, the Lowrider ST won't really be touched engine-wise for a little bit because my warranty won't be honoured. So I'll ride it a bit while it's in warranty, see how it handles and how the motor's going, and then, you know, do a bunch of stuff to the motor. But that's about it. Cheers.